There are moments in life when the world feels unbearably heavy, when even the smallest necessity becomes a mountain too steep to climb. On a cold morning in a quiet supermarket in Ohio, a young mother stood frozen in front of the dairy section, holding a nearly empty wallet and staring at the price of milk as though it were a luxury item. Her eyes were red, not from the cold, but from nights of holding back tears. That day, everything would change for her, not because fate suddenly became kinder, but because a stranger chose to see her. Before we go deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small good deeds, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this continue to reach hearts. Her name was Emily Carter, a 28-year-old mother of two. Life had not always been this difficult. Just 3 years earlier, she and her husband, Mark, lived in a small but cheerful home on the edge of town. Mark had worked in construction, a hard-working man with calloused hands and a tired smile that always softened when he saw his children. Emily, once a part-time preschool assistant, had left her job to stay home when their second child was born. It wasn't an extravagant life, but it was filled with warmth, homemade meals, bedtime stories, and laughter that rang through the walls. Then everything changed in one devastating month. The construction company Mark worked for shut down unexpectedly. Layoffs came without warning, savings drained to keep up with bills, and job applications seemed to vanish into silence. The stress wore him down faster than Emily could soothe, and in the middle of winter, a persistent cough he had ignored turned into pneumonia. The hospital visit came too late. The day Emily said goodbye to the man who had held her heart was the day the world softened its colors, dimming into shades of gray. Now a widow with 2 small children, Liam, age 5, and baby Grace, barely a year old, Emily tried to survive on small cleaning jobs, government assistance that never stretched far enough, and whatever she could sell from their old belongings. She learned to make meals from scraps, to mend clothes that were already fading, to smile for the children when inside she felt herself unraveling. But milk, of all things, became the symbol of her struggle. Grace needed it. Liam loved it. And yet lately, even milk felt like something she had to choose between and something else they needed to live. On that morning, Emily stood in front of the refrigerated shelves, clutching 2 crumpled dollar bills and a handful of coins. She quietly did the math over and over, hoping the numbers would magically change. They didn't. Behind her, the line of shoppers moved on with carts full of abundance, fresh produce, snacks, warm bread, while she stood still, frozen in a moment of silent defeat. She whispered under her breath, "We just need milk." It was not a plea to anyone around her, it was a prayer to life itself, but someone did hear. Across the aisle stood a man in his early 40s, dressed in a navy coat, neatly trimmed beard, kind but weary eyes. His name was Andrew Miller, a high school English teacher who had come to the store to pick up groceries after his morning class. He had lost someone too, a wife to cancer 3 years earlier, and knew the look of a person standing on the edge of breaking. He watched Emily quietly, not in judgment but with recognition. The shaking hands, the forced stillness, the silent plea. He approached gently, aware that pride can be as fragile as hope. Emily noticed him only when his cart rolled softly beside her. She did not look up, afraid her eyes would betray her struggles. Andrew hesitated, then asked softly if she needed help. Emily forced a tight smile and shook her head. The last thing she wanted was pity, but in that moment, the weight in her chest felt too heavy, and her voice cracked as she admitted that she only had enough for half a gallon when her children needed more. She didn't explain more. She didn't have to. Andrew nodded slowly, then without another word walked a few steps away. Emily assumed he was leaving. Her chest tightened, embarrassed at her moment of weakness. But he returned, pushing a full crate of milk, enough to last a month. Emily stared at it in shock, her eyes filling with tears she tried so hard not to show. She stammered something about not being able to repay him. He gently shook his head. He told her that once, someone had helped him when he was drowning in loss, and that kindness is not something to repay, only to pass forward to someone else when life allowed. In the middle of that supermarket aisle, surrounded by strangers rushing through their own lives, Emily felt something stir inside her, something she hadn't felt in months: hope. But the story didn't end there. Andrew didn't just buy her milk, he talked to her. He listened. He didn't ask probing questions or offer charity with conditions. He simply acknowledged her humanity. Before they parted, he gave her a small card with the name of a community help center run by volunteers. He said they could help with food, childcare, and job placement. Emily held onto that card like it was a lifeline. The next day, after wrestling with her pride and her fear of judgment, she went. What she found there was not charity but compassion. Volunteers who had seen every shade of human struggle helped her fill out forms, helped her apply for assistance she didn't know she qualified for, and offered a food pantry with dignity, where she could choose groceries the same way anyone else did. A warm meal was served in a hall where strangers gathered as though they were family. For the first time in months, she didn't feel alone. Slowly, life began to shift. Emily was offered part-time work at the same center, helping organize donations and caring for children while their parents attended workshops. She discovered she was good at comforting children who were hurting, because she understood their hurt herself. Her smile returned, not all at once, but piece by piece. Liam started sleeping better, no longer waking at night asking if everything was okay. Baby Grace giggled more. The shadows in their home lifted, replaced by small joys and simple blessings. Months passed, and Emily was hired by a local preschool. Not long after, she started leading a support group for single mothers navigating grief and survival. She shared her story, not for pity, but to remind others that even the smallest kindness can be a lifeline. And she never forgot the crate of milk. She learned Andrew still taught at the same school. Once or twice a year, she sent him a handwritten card. Not to thank him, because she understood now what he meant. Kindness is not something to repay, but to let him know that his one moment of awareness, his one decision to see someone, had changed the entire direction of 3 lives. Years later, Emily would tell her children about that day. She explained that sometimes angels don't have wings. They stand behind you in grocery stores, wearing winter coats and tired eyes, and they step forward exactly when you think no one can see you. One small act, one ordinary moment, one human heart choosing kindness. That was all it took. If this story has touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps more people hear stories that remind us there is still good in this world. Before we end, please comment below. Have you ever witnessed or experienced a small act of kindness that changed everything?